Hey, what's up, everybody? Romy Mac here with another intro. Just wanting to say thank you once again to everyone who, again, takes time to listen to each episode, whether it ranges from 30 minutes to an hour. I really give it up to those that make it an hour in today's TikTok society that we're used to clips like 10 and 15 seconds. But thank you guys, truly, for listening and watching. Whatever it is, whether you're on your way to work, whether you're sitting at home, whether you're playing video games, listening to this shit, driving your trucks, whatever you're doing with your life, I want to say thank you for taking time to listen and being able to share with others so that they can kind of create the conversation just as much as you inside your head. I hope that what the information that is given on this program is something of value that you could use to better yourself going forward. But without further ado, I do want to give shout outs for those with a few businesses that's going out there. Number one, shout out to my man Yooda down in Miami. Just released a new music video, J.E.T. You want to check that out on YouTube or wherever music videos are played. I'm sure you can find it, but that's Yooda, Yooda. New music video is J.E.T. It's just entitled J.E.T. Also, from my girl Vanessa's podcast, Let's Hablar with V. Be sure to check that out. AJ Stay Working. Check out his production, and like if you live in the Fort Walton Beach area, be sure to check out clubs where he's performing. You know what I'm saying? Be on the lookout for some activity coming from the Jet podcast, Just Enough Trouble. They haven't put anything out in a while, but they're going to be getting that thing going, so be sure to check that out. I believe it's Cocktails with Kaya. They had me on they actually had me on an episode they did one time. I'll have to look that up and kind of post that. Might even for this episode too, but be sure to check that out too. But I mean, it's a lot of people that I know that are like within the music business or entertainment business that are trying to make a name for themselves, but just want to use this time to kind of elevate that platform. But truly grateful for everything. The faithful ones that listen in each week. I'm grateful that that you take time to tell me what you think about the episode, be it in person, be it on the phone, be it through YouTube comments or TikTok, whatever it is. Like, be sure to support that too. So follow the show on Snapchat. You can follow the show on Snapchat. You can follow the show on TikTok. You can follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, of course the YouTube show. That's really all I got. But anyway, thank you guys for all the support. And tuning in each week. Enjoy the show.
Not show resentment.
Okay.
Just like you were saying, it's hard to not show resentment when you have showed unconditional love to so many people every single time. Like, you've accepted them, and that can go in so many different aspects. Okay. Relationships, me having biracial children, to the Christianity religion, so many different aspects. That's a whole other subject.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, how do you not turn cold?
By loving unconditionally. If you love conditionally, you'll feel like you're owed something. But if you love unconditionally, you do things without expecting anything in return. But we're human, like, we deal with something called the ego, and our ego is very strong in everyone. Like, it may start out like, I'm going to create this thing for someone. After a while, the ego takes control of itself, and it's like, oh, well, this whole thing happened because of me, versus it being, it just appears. But because we are so filled with our ego, we tend to get so consumed by it. And that's when you have to have ego deaths, multiple ego deaths. Because if you don't, you'll be consumed by it and you'll feel like you're hot shit, and then you learn how much you're not.
Learn to spend time by yourself too, because you can fall back in a trap of people pleasing and trying to do for others and more so than yourself. So if you're like me, you gotta take time, you gotta back the fuck up, you gotta unplug, you gotta spend time with yourself. Where's your mind traveled when you get triggered? When I get triggered, my mind goes to a place of helplessness. A place where I feel like I have to defend myself. Like I'm Bruce Lee in a room full of a bunch of Asian niggas knowing karate and shit. And I have to fend off everything. And there's no one that can be trusted. I go silent. I shut the fuck down. I do not trust who's around me. I feel like I've made a poor decision, and then I blame myself for making that poor decision because I'm around someone who has triggered me. You know what I mean? Like, how did I do this? Why did I allow this to happen? You know what I mean? And it's scary as fuck. And I know that a lot of it has to do with my own like addiction, my self-harm antics, be it meaningless sex or porn addiction. Honestly, I mean, they all tie together anyway. And getting in those moments, and sometimes I'm speechless. Like I'm not even able to form words at times when I am triggered. And my mind is running a million miles a minute. I'm trying to go back and fix shit from childhood. I'm trying to fix shit from early in my adulthood. I'm trying to just fix things where I felt like I could have made better decisions in those moments. And it's not a fun feeling, but it is something that must be embraced. So when those moments hit, I try to sit with them. And like I said, it's difficult at times. It is it's painful. You wanna, like I said, little Rome. You know, my ego, which is my wounded inner child, is crying out for help, for someone to save them. But who's gonna come save the big nigga like me? You know what I mean? Like it's just, you know, there's a assumption he's got it under control. So when you see someone of like my size and shit appearing weak, people like to take advantage of that, unfortunately. And you know, it's not to be a victim, because I'm not a victim. My ego might feel some way about it, you know what I'm saying? But I am not a victim. I am someone who is capable of many things. And another thing, when I'm triggered, I think about all the things I didn't do or didn't know how to do or didn't do right versus the things that I've already done. And I've done a lot in my life, a lot for myself, a lot for others, and things I didn't realize I was doing for people. You know, I'll have people tell me that, you know, I heard you in my head when they were going through a particular situation that they wanted to quit or they wanted to run scared from a relationship or something like that. And, you know, it's like, you know, the information, the gems that have been passed on to me that I've passed on to others is working. And I believe that's the reason why I did this shit. And as you go through it, you know, you have people, because when you're trying to do right and you're trying to, you know, live a virtuous life, as the Stoics say, there's people waiting for you to fall. So they've tried to find any inkling of, you know what I'm saying, that you are not living up to what you say and shit. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that you're just as flawed as they are. It's not saying these things to be like, I'm perfect. It's saying these things so that we can try to work towards living that life. It's no different than trying to, you know what I'm saying, stay healthy. You know what I'm saying? Trying to stay fit and go to the gym. You know what I mean? Because it's just life. You know, like, I'm going to fuck up. You know what I'm saying? I fuck up in some way, shape, or form every day. Not purposely. It just happens. And what do? You go forward. That's all you really can do is go forward. But sometimes when I make mistakes, there's the shame game, you know. And when you sit in shame and you don't talk about it, it leaves you trapped. You feel like you're done, you fucked up, and this is it, because that's the feeling that you had when you made that first fuck up. Whether it be a parent, whether it be a family, you know, family member, or friend, teacher, whatever, in school, when you fucked up, they made you feel like that was the end of the world. But it wasn't. It was a moment where you just had a lapse of judgment, and that's okay. It's all right to move forward. It's okay to make mistakes, and but not everybody has to forgive you for making that mistake. You know what I'm saying? It takes people time to heal, and that's okay too. You just have to stay on your path. Like, you know what I mean? People come and go every day. There may be somebody that dies without forgiving you. You're gonna stop living until you get that forgiveness. You do not require that validation from them. And they do not need your validation. We only have to be validated by ourselves. And it's hard remembering that when you are triggered. Because when I'm triggered, all this shit go out the window. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if I allow myself to get there emotionally, all this shit, the stoicism, the mental health, everything, the ego can take over. So it's like a ongoing thing every day to try to maintain your masculine frame, maintain your guard the door of your mind, so that you watch all the thoughts that come through there. Because after a while, from all the years and years of negative self-talk, it's so easy to get yourself in a position to beat yourself up. The brain loves to solve problems, so it loves to find negative shit and roll with that and just sit with that. But it's also something that your brain was trained to do. So if we can train our brain to talk negative, we can train our brain to talk positive. So, I mean, it's just an option. But my mind goes on one hell of a path when triggered. Like, I don't know who is who in front of me, because of things that I've been in before, where I've been very, very trustworthy with individuals, right? And then to find out them pulling one over my head. You know what I'm saying? Double life shit. And blind loyalty. I also lived a double life, you know what I'm saying, before, in a relationship I was in. So, I mean, it's like the universe is going to give you exactly what you give to it, and you have to accept it and be honest and be with yourself. If you're not able to be honest with anybody else, be honest with yourself and make sense of a lot of things that you've allowed yourself to get involved in. And lessons learned, no losses, win or learn. That's all we do in this life. So my mind goes to dark places. It goes to the further, for those Insidious fans. It goes to the further when triggered. And by the way, Insidious got another movie coming out. We're looking forward to see that red nigga return. The one that looks like, I don't know what the fuck, the fireman is what they call him or whatever. But Yeah, Insidious, that's a plug right there. I'm looking forward to seeing that. It is, it's not easy, but I don't think it was supposed to be. I think me as a man, I think I'm supposed to teach other men how to vocalize what's going on inside from a masculine standpoint, and being able to share that with the world, and so in hopes that our peers, especially our women, can understand what goes on in our mind, so that, you know, they can learn how to love us, you know what I mean? And even us fellas, you know what I'm saying, learning how we can love our, you know, our brothers and shit like that, you know what I mean? I listen a lot. I listen when people talk. And you learn a lot when you listen. Of course, you want to say something and you want to validate yourself by sounding intelligent, but those are old days, you know what I mean? Just listening to people. So much comes about when you learn how to listen. It teaches people to talk more. It enables people to talk more, to share more. Growing pains. You go through different shit, and you and your ego have so many battles throughout the day. And the moral to the story of that battle with your ego is that nothing anyone does is about you. You know what I'm saying? They're merely running their own movie. The director in their own movie. So, like when we do get triggered, we have to take a step back. We have to detach from the situation and ask ourselves, is what we feel is happening right now? Am I really in that moment? Am I in a toxic moment? Am I in a dangerous point in my life? Because if it's not happening right now, it's not happening. And it's hard though. It's hard when you get triggered. When I do get triggered though, I like to regroup. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, as of late, I've been really to self, like recharging. Able to see some things for myself as far as like how I've been carrying myself and the actions that I've taken in my life. Is it benefiting me? The people around me, how do they benefit me? Or am I just there to benefit them? You know what I mean? And of course you want to be valuable. Of course you're valuable, you know what I mean? But you want to make sure that the individuals that you choose to be around, the jobs that you choose to work at, the family members that you choose to talk to, they are giving you life and not draining you of it, and taking shit away from you. You know what I mean? You want to have that energy that's uplifting. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you just gotta assess that. So all in all, like when I'm triggered, dark places come up, but it's like sitting still, embracing what you feel, and moving forward, understanding what's real and what's not. As far as like in front of you, what's going on right there in front of you, and stay away from self-harming actions. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I won't speak for anybody else, but like again, porn addiction. And it's not like you're doing it because you just want to do it. It's doing it because the brain is trained to get that high level, that hit. It's like getting that first hit of that heroin or whatever, whatever strong drug it is. You're always chasing that first high, and you want to get back to that feeling, and you just constantly chase the shit. Obviously, I've never done any hard drugs or anything like that. The hardest drug I've ever done is porn. If you ask, if you ask me, it's it can be very, very potent, especially on the mind. And when you feel, you get in moments where you get, you get triggered, and then you want to go to escapism, as they say. And when you get to escapism, it runs away from all the pain, and it's like it's like a sedative, you know what I'm saying? It eases the symptoms, but you think it makes you feel better in the long run, but it makes you feel worse. Stay the fuck away from things that put you in dark places, and just continue to move forward. That's it. why do we reject love? Okay. I won't say we. I'll go with me. Why do I, why do I reject love and why did I reject love? Didn't feel worthy of it. Trained that you didn't matter. Or felt like you didn't matter. You didn't feel seen. You didn't feel heard. So you do all these things for validation, and then like it's almost like a dog chasing a car, like how Heath Ledger says in The Dark Knight. I'm like a dog chasing a car. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught it. And when you do find, when you get that feeling, right? And it's a wonderful feeling if you ever get a chance to feel like love, if you will. Despite my despite my thoughts and my feelings on the fact that men and women love differently, there's a different type of love. This is my stance on love, okay? And solely mine. If a woman does not respect you, there's no way she can love you. She might tell you in a relationship, but if she does not respect you, then that's not the love that you want. That's not the love that you desire. If you tell me you love me, but you're still tearing me down and calling me names and trying to tear me down as a man, fuck you for one. And two, that to me that's not love. I don't perceive that to be loving to me. You know what I mean? I believe that the woman for you will complement your life. She will not complicate. She will make your life easier. She will understand that you are a man with purpose and you are focused on your purpose, and she's going to make life better for you. You know what I mean? And in response, you're going to get you're going to want to shower her with all the resources that you gain from chasing the purpose. To me, it's simple. Don't get me wrong. There's some selfish bastards that will drain a bitch for her affection and love, and then carry on smartly. You know what I'm saying? Do your own thing, and that's a risk you got to take. You know what I mean? Nothing that person did is ever, is going to be about you. You're only responsible for your half of the relationship, either way. But rejecting love, when you're made, like I said, when you're made to feel. I can go round and round the mulberry bush and bring it back. But when you when you're raised and trained inadvertently, you're not taught directly. Because I don't even think my family knew it themselves about what love. You know what I'm saying? About this type of love. You know what I'm saying? The love that we got is it's a little bit on the harsh side. You know what I'm saying? It's not really a direct thing. It's an indirect form of love that we would get. You know what I'm saying? We would love each other by clowning on one another. You know what I'm saying? We would love each other by all these negative things outside looking in. You know what I'm saying? But this is the love we would do. You're not going to get built up. You're not going to get words of encouragement. You know what I mean? Anything like that. You might get, you ain't gonna do nothing, man. What you gonna do with a podcast, dog? What you gonna do, man? Hey, man, what you gonna do, man? You know what I'm saying? Shit like, you know what I'm saying? Something like that, where it's, it can be a form of jealousy. You know what I'm saying? Like not wanting you to go further than where they are and whatnot. I'm not saying anybody has ever said that to me. I'm just giving an example of what type of shit the type of love that which we are used to seeing. So when you hear that shit all the time, you're not really prone to try to do things further. You know what I'm saying? Your ego and the fitting in, the validation gets in the way, and you're not really able to just shower, show that type of, that type of love to your family member. But there are cycle breakers. The beauty of it, once you have the knowledge of it, you can be a cycle breaker and you can show love. You can teach it. It may take a while for some people to adjust to it, but you can teach that unconditional love, right? And you don't have to tear them down to show love. If y'all clowning and shit like that, and that's just like some shit y'all, you know what I'm saying, you and your family do, y'all kikiing and all that shit, by all means, get to it, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to something that, somebody is very passionate about, encourage them. You know what I mean? So like showing love, man, it's uncomfortable when you get someone, like when you've been taught that you're not worthy of love. It's hard to accept it from those that actually want to give it when they come from a loving family. You know what I'm saying? Or they just decided that they're going to change said narrative about love. And I've been on both sides of it. I've been the guy that was too loving. You know what I'm saying? Like where it comes off almost like insecure to a person who felt like they did not feel worthy of that type of love. So they did everything they could to sabotage the shit. And then I've also been the individual who felt like they weren't worthy of love, that they then want to sabotage the shit. And it's a trap. You know what I'm saying? It's a continuous cycle that goes on where we just feel like I'm not worthy of love. You know what I'm saying? And not only are you worthy of love, you are love. You know what I mean? Like you're not lacking any form of love. Like you're not lacking love. You know what I mean? You have love in abundance. You know what I'm saying? You can afford to give it out. You know what I mean? Without feeling like you've been had and shit. But that's the soul talking. The ego is like, nigga, you not about to play me. It's not gonna happen. This bitch is not about to play me like that, dog. Anybody have me walking around like some goddamn fool? And the ego has its, it has its perspective where you can understand that feeling. You know, you want to date someone or be in a relationship. And by this I mean when you're in a committed relationship with someone, you want to be with someone that actually values you. You know what I'm saying? That makes you feel seen. That makes you feel heard. That allows you to you can be corny. You know what I'm saying? Like I appreciate those relationships and those women that do not treat you any differently as a man when you are allowed to be corny, because again, you know, there's a lot of women that treat you differently when you don't hold yourself to a certain standard. You know what I mean? Like as far as carrying yourself as a man. Because some men can be very jokey, like, you know what I'm saying, but who respects the clown? So it's like trying to find a balance of being able to make her sniggle and giggle, and then also make them titties tingle, and then also being a motherfucking man. You know what I'm saying? Masculine. It can be a struggle. You know what I'm saying? But I mean at the same time, women have their own I would say struggle, if you will, with as far as being a lady, being feminine. You know, I give women, especially masculine women, I give masculine women a hard fucking time all the time. But like knowing that balance, because again, a lot of women that operate in their masculine, man, they don't know how to turn that shit off, and then they get real tough because of what shit they've gone through, and then you sitting there fighting with a man in the room. And like, what happened to the lady that I fell for? You know what I'm saying? Now she acting all tough, she all protective and shit. And it's a turnoff for one, you know what I mean? But somehow or another, we got to get back. We got to get our relationships back in a place, you know what I'm saying, back leveled. Where one, men have to be men. We have to be masculine. We have to lead, but not take ourselves too seriously. Women's gonna have to be feminine. You know what I'm saying? I know some women like to be comfortable. I mean, I know women back home, them old church ladies, they like to come to church dressed like boys, you know what I'm saying? and be in marriages. I be like, I know that nigga don't find her attractive when she walked through the door with she got the church shirt on, she got the jeans, and she wearing some, I don't know, penny loafers or some shit. You know what I mean? But I digress. Just remembering to be, like I said, feminine. You know, we have to understand attraction is attraction. There are a lot of people that can just be in relationships and love just for love, but you want to be in love and you also want to feel that fire. You want to feel desired. You want to feel that passion. And I may not know much about fucking love. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning to give love unconditionally to myself. Others, it depends. That's why I gotta start with me. But you know what I'm saying? Like to love someone just on the strength of them, you know what I'm saying? Like I believe it's possible for you to be desired and also still like have a love for someone. You know what I'm saying? Like there's that attraction. Like, you know, some couples ask, like, how does the fire, you know, like get out of the marriage and all that stuff? It's because you stop putting effort in. You know what I mean? It's like talking to that person as if it's the first day you met them. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, 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 really. So I think that, you know, that might be, I think that's just a way of doing it. You know, I think that's a way that we can do this. I think I believe there's a way for us to both, like I said, we can desire our partner and love our partner. You know what I'm saying? But you don't let the fire die out. You know what I'm saying? You have to again, continue. I believe that one effective way of doing it is talking to the individual that you're with, like it's the first time you talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like when you had no expectations, you didn't really have. They might. I mean, y'all might have had your egos present and stuff like that, just for confidence and all that stuff. But you weren't entitled to anything. You had no expectations of them, and you just had a free conversation. Most of us did. You know, sometimes some of us play, you know what I'm saying, put on masks and, you know what I'm saying, just to, because we don't feel that an individual would love us for us. It happens. But, you know what I'm saying, like talking as if it was the first time we met them. And but just love, you know what I'm saying, like feeling like, that's another part too, not being accepted. When you've been, when you come from a family that doesn't know how to accept you for you, you think you think the world is like that too, and the family was only doing it because that was done to them. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to forgive them for what they didn't know. You know what I mean? And try to again be a cycle breaker, change the narrative, have courage to stand and be yourself. A lot of us don't have that shit, you know what I'm saying? Where we don't have the courage to be ourselves, and we put on masks, and you know what I'm saying, we dress up a lot of things, and we don't tell the truth. We're passive aggressive. We'll say things to one person, but we won't say it to another. We don't have the courage to say how we really feel, for fear of being judged, or fear of not being accepted, whatever the case may be. But if we can find a way to be honest, if you knew that you'd be loved no matter what you said, we'd be more honest. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the beauty of unconditional love. You know what I mean? We've gone through some shit, and some people have yelled at us for speaking our truth, and because of their own fear, and it's caused us to be like a condensed version, a modified version of ourselves, and not speak our truth. But there are ways of breaking a cycle. It's not going to be easy, but nothing in this life worth having is easy. It's difficult. It's difficult. Everything's difficult at first, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. You know what I'm saying? So, rejecting love. Rejecting it because of not feeling worthy of it. No, yeah. I think ultimately for me, wasn't feeling worthy of like being loved, like the individuals that I expected to show love, expected to see love in a particular way. It didn't happen the way my expectations had drew it up, and I interpreted that as I wasn't worthy of love. But nothing they were doing was ever about me. That's something I had to learn, and we all have to learn, I believe, that lesson. So it's learning unconditional love. It's learning to love yourself. Learn to spend time by yourself too. Because you can fall back in a trap of people pleasing and trying to do for others, and more so than yourself. So if you're like me, you got to take time. You got to back the fuck up. You got to unplug. You got to spend time with yourself. You got to go on me dates. You got to read books. You got to meditate. Definitely meditate. Meditation is like that's how you get back. That's how you get recentered. So that's just something that I do when it comes to whenever I feel like I'm getting out of place. I like to recenter myself by meditation. But I mean, when it comes to love, when it comes to rejecting love, those are some of the things that go through my mind and what I believe as to why I would do that shit. How do we put our happiness in others' hands? One, when we seek their validation, however it is, you know what I'm saying? Like if you are, you put someone so high on a pedestal, you just want that validation from them. And it just seems like you're not able to get it and you're miserable because of it. You will put your happiness in their hands if you just keep waiting and waiting for them to see you, validate you. When you are already whole, you know what I'm saying? You're not incomplete, you're not broken. None of us, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody ain't for you. There's nothing wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, could you work to be better? Could you be a better you? Sure, that's all you really gotta do every day. It's work on being the best version of yourself. And that will then attract all of which, you know what I'm saying, that you desire is by being the best version of yourself. Just working on yourself, because at times we can get lost in the sauce. We can try to fit in with certain people, and we can really our emotions can get the best of us, and we can put our happiness inside another person. We think that, you know, if this person responds to us, then we're on top of the world, we're sold, we're filled with it, you know what I mean? And it's not fair to that individual to be responsible for your happiness. I think that they could compliment your life, sure, great, that's good. You know, you meet someone, you know, you find them attractive, you know what I'm saying? But when they don't do the things that you want them to do, that has nothing to do with you. They're their own person. They may not want to do exactly what you want to do, and you have to accept that shit. But again, growing up, not feeling heard, not feeling seen, you can become a control freak, right? The people that want to be in control the most are the ones that's mostly out of control. And I speak on me. I wanted to control everyone that I claimed to love for fear of abandonment. You know what I mean? So ultimately, I put my happiness in their hands when they didn't do the things that I didn't want them. You know, when they did things that I didn't want them to do, or they didn't do what I wanted them to do, and I had to hold myself accountable for it. When you're taught that life goes, that life is. When you're taught that love means do what I do, you know, you do what I want you to do, you take that as it's a rejection. It's rejection of love when someone doesn't do what you ask them to do. But no one is inclined to do anything that you ask them to do. It is a choice. But if you've been brainwashed, if you've been taught by, you know, indirect things in life that will have you believing that if you don't do this shit, then you don't love me, you're going to be more inclined to do it. And it's toxic as fuck, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's toxic as fuck. I've done it myself as a manipulator, a master manipulator, and I've had it done to me. But it's not good. It's unhealthy. We're human. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing more than human. So trying to be a better man, better person, you know, better leader, better spirit for that matter. Having this spiritual energy inside you and the ability to uplift your peers by one, bearing your soul, two, giving off an energy that enhances people's minds, that uplifts them, that gives them emotional intelligence, teaches them how to manage their emotions so that they don't lose their shit when you come at them the fucking wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Like when we put our happiness in other people's hands, we live in illusion. We believe that that person is responsible for us, and they're not. No one is responsible for you, but you. You're not a child. We're adults. Most of us are. I mean, I'm sure there's some teeny boppers and stuff that, you know what I'm saying, that may watch this, but even you guys, you're not responsible for what other people do. That was never supposed to be your responsibility. Some of us grew up in toxic environments where they had to feel like they were responsible for other people's shit. And you didn't have to. Now, if you're military, that's a whole nother ball game. From a military standpoint, like a leader is responsible for all, you know, everybody under them and all that shit. What I'm talking about is being in a family, being in a relationship, or being, you know, you're not responsible for what that person does. You're not responsible for what that person says. You're not even responsible for how that person feels. They do everything by choice. It takes a big weight off of you when you understand that that's not your responsibility. And some of us, it takes time, because some of us want to be responsible for every fucking thing. Our egos love that shine, like me, look at me, I got it, I'm gonna put on all this shit, I'm gonna make everybody happy, and that's my place in this life. And that's not your life. You were never meant to do that. You know, I mean, you might have some skills because of doing so, but it wasn't your responsibility. It's more like extra credit, you know what I'm saying? And some people don't give you credit, period. And you're doing it for extra credit. So when you're doing it so much and then people don't do it in return, you and your expectations expected them to do the same thing that you did. And that's not how life works. See, life, unless it's money, and you gotta, and you know what I'm saying, you're fierce about, you know, the business that you're in, whatever you do should be unconditional so that you don't have any resentment. That's the beauty of unconditional love. Being able to do something without expecting something in return. If it's business, conditional love. I'm not working for free. I come to work to do flight plans and, you know, driving on the airfield for you to pay me for doing that shit. I don't like to go on the airfield for fucking free. I want to be paid. You know what I'm saying? Or you go to your firm, or you go to the hospital. I mean, some people could do it. Some people could work in the hospital for free, giving care. That's their payment and all that stuff. But you do have me on this contract, under salary, to pay me for coming in here, sticking needles in your ass. So I want to be paid for the needle and ass. I need needle and ass money so I can get nails did, hair did, everything did, whatever it is, why you go to work. I think you get the point. When it comes to business, you're going to pay me for what the fuck I've done. When it comes to life, do things unconditionally. Don't do anything that you don't want to do. Don't. And don't worry about that individual is upset because you don't want to do it. You're not responsible for how they feel. You know what I'm saying? You're only responsible for you. So, I mean, what more really can you say about it? Putting your happiness in other people's hands. Like, some people are just used to that. You know, they're used to being princes and princesses, or whatever. So princes and princesses, you know, some of us are used to it. And, that's not anyone's responsibility but our own to look after ourselves. So it's hard because you have a fear of abandonment, so you do things that you don't want to do for fear of feeling like people are going to leave you. And that's the cycle that you have to break, because you're fine by yourself. You just don't like being left alone. Like, you don't like being abandoned. And that's the fuckery right there. You're fine with being alone. You just don't like the feeling of abandonment because it triggers. It's a pain, you know what I'm saying? But you're fine alone. You're fine. You will be okay. Let people walk out of your life. I assure you, you'll be okay. It's an adjustment period, but you will be fine. The universe is going, everything that you have, the universe has prepared you for it in that moment. And that alone should take away our anxiety. But I mean, if you're like me and those of us that I do know that deal with the fucking anxiety, we want to be puppet master. We want to control everything that's fucking around us. So no, you can't leave yet. You can't leave yet. I'm still using some shit from you. You know what I'm saying? I need you for safety, you know, and find out that you'll be fine without them. There's so many people in our life that we thought at one point in time we could not live without. And we look back and like, what the fuck was I doing with her? What was the fuck was I doing with him? Because it's time. Time heals. Time shows you who you can be. Time might show you who you are, but time will definitely show you who you can be. And that is by giving things time. You know what I'm saying? Allow things to digest, to trust yourself, trust God, trust the universe. You know what I'm saying? And practice mindfulness. Be on your shit. Like really take things into consideration. Detach yourself from what you feel you're in right now and ask yourself, is it really worth it? Is it really worth my stress? Is it really worth stressing over? Is it really worth being depressed about? You know what I'm saying? There's so much more life to live than it is that you're worrying about what you don't have. You know what I mean? So putting happiness in other people's hands. How do we do that? By making them responsible for us. We're grown. We're not children. We're not victims. We're adults. And the sooner we recognize that, the better off we'll be.